Hello everyone and welcome to a Monday edition of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Second Quest. We just wrapped up the 8th dungeon, and now we're going to head over to the 4th dungeon, which is right by the 8th dungeon. You can do the 4th before the 8th, I suppose, or you could do the 8th and then the 4th, but, you know, sometimes I want the 4th to be with you. Just kidding. Anyways, the 4th dungeon is rather short, and this episode's going to have more than one dungeon in it. But first we have to dig with Deal Dogger, or deal with Dig Dogger, whichever you prefer. Thankfully we've got the white sword, but it still takes a number of hits before we can take out Dig Dogger. It's like a furry little eye, I guess. And I apologize for a lack of videos lately. I'm still undergoing allergies and being sick, so I'm going to cut the videos down from like 20 minutes to about 12 or 13 minutes for a couple days, just to give myself a little bit of leeway, and that way I can catch up and not have to just abandon the channel, so to speak. So this also means I may be able to squeeze out 2 videos, maybe twice this week in one day, I don't know. Aquamentus is not too difficult, of course, with a white sword. Now, we don't have the bow yet. In fact, we have to get the raft before we get the bow. And, I believe we get the raft in this dungeon. So either way, you have to deal with these Poles voices and Gibdos with the, white sword. Of course we get the magic book, and I think it's kind of interesting in the second quest compared to the first quest. Well, the first quest, if you don't remember, or if I need to remind you, the magic wand came before the magic book. They had the magic wand in Dungeon 6 and the magic book in Dungeon 8. This time it's kind of flipped around a little bit. So you get the book before you get the magic wand. So that's another reason why I kind of enjoy doing level 8 or Dungeon 8 first. Not only to get the magic key, but to get the magic wand. Which I don't use that much, but just in case your sword gets taken away by the bubbles, the red bubbles, well, it doesn't hurt to have an alternative. Here I'm kind of taking care of the dark nuts with a wand because I don't want to have to worry about my sword all the time. But now that I've done that, I can kind of grab the blue bubble and hopefully get out of here. I know somebody's going to probably comment on me saying balls instead of bubble or something again, but for comedic effect it sounds better. I don't know. I mean, obviously not having red balls, but blue balls, well, that connotates something else, doesn't it? Here's another reason why the ladder is a very good item to have in the dungeons, because you get a lot of these dungeons with these, areas like this where you have to cross with the ladder. Or you don't have to cross, but it would just help. But anyways, we need to go up here to a secret area. Now, level 4 is kind of lengthy in terms of the number of rooms, but compared to level 8, you don't have to do a whole lot of backtracking, you know. Now, the old man is referring to the 9th dungeon. It says, if you go in the direction of the arrow. It's basically the arrow that's made up of rocks at the top of the overworld, on the top row. And it points to Dungeon 9, but it's not that specific. And in the last room, of course, that's kind of a bastard move on the part of the developers, because well, you get trapped in the room and you either have to give up your money or your life. Although I suppose you could do the old save reset where you could go back to the beginning of the dungeon. And kind of get your rupees and come back, but that would be kind of a pain in the butt. That's why it's good to have plenty of rupees before you go into any dungeon, just in case, you know. Now, the first quest, you really didn't have to do that, because they didn't have rooms like that. But in this quest, yes, it would definitely help. Now you may be thinking, we're gonna get the Triforce. Nope, we're actually gonna go up here to a secret passage. It's kinda evil for them to do that, but, that's okay. I actually kinda like that they did that. It gives you a whole, epilogue to the dungeon, I suppose. Well, I had some real sprite slowdown there. But that's nothing we can't handle. But I like that there's kind of an epilogue to the dungeon here. Now this room is kind of a difficult room because of the layout of the columns or the blocks. But basically what you have to do is defeat all the enemies here because there's a certain block in here we have to move. But at least we get the doorway here, so that's kind of nice. At least we have that. It's not like it's each room, each wall is bombable or something, where you can't really have a good place to hide. And we don't have the bow for the pulse voices, so they can kind of throw you off. And of course the wand doesn't do anything on the pulse voice. I never quite figured out what the Pole's voice was, if it was some sort of a floating rabbit head or bunny head or... I don't know. But anyways, down here we get the raft. And you're gonna need the raft to get into Dungeon 5, so you might as well get it. And if you were playing this game without any map, and you got or you got done with level 4, and you were trying to figure out where the raft was, because you'd need it before level 5, or Dungeon 5, boy, you'd really be screwed, because how would you know to go up here? I guess you would have to check every single room, I suppose, and map it out yourself, but fortunately people did that back in the day. And you had Nintendo Power Guides too, so that was pretty nice. Now we're done with that, so we can move on. I don't know how people would have found some of these dungeons, without some sort of guide. Unless some people just kind of discovered it by accident or something. I mean, this was the days before, you know, widespread internet. I think maybe you would have a BBS or something you could log into in the late 80s or early 90s. Before, you know, CompuServe and Prodigy and AOL, which really weren't ISPs per se. They were kind of like gated community ISPs, I suppose. Almost made you think I was going to go for the medicine there, huh? But anyways, that's kind of one of the heart containers. That's one of the ones that I always forget about, but I found it this time. And of course, now that we have the ladder, we can go on the eastern side of the map, and we can go for that other heart container. Or actually, 2 heart containers. First, let's get on the raft here, and up here we have another heart container, which is nice. And if we go down here, eventually, we will make it to the docks where we can grab the next heart container. And it's nice that we have all these bombs, but we don't really need 12 bombs, but whatever. We have the rupees, why not, right? If you're gonna go, go with a smile, right? You know, it'd be kind of cool to have a garden and have the trees arranged like this. I'm gonna try to see if anybody can figure out what the reference is. Fortunately, some of the longer dungeons are already completed. But like level 7, that is fairly lengthy. Anyways, it's time to go to level 1. We might as well take care of it. The first dungeon is extremely short, thankfully. And now that we got the magic key, we can just breeze right through it. No problem. You know those little things that shoot out fire? When I was young, I thought they were like fish or Zoras or something. Strange statues. And if you think about it, this game, the limitations of the game, and the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the Famicom, I guess you could call it, they extend the game quite a bit by recycling a lot of rooms, but just paletting sprites a little bit. And you can get quite a bit of variety for each room by just, you know, putting in a different pattern or a different enemy, etc. So that's pretty nice. Anyways, this wraps up this episode of Let's Play Legend of Zelda, so thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.